Good evening. Welcome, everyone. We're going to call the meeting to order in compliance with the Open Meetings Act, Texas Government Code 55, Chapter 551. I call this meeting of the Manor Independent School District to order on
501,
January 28th.
January 28th.
Let the record show that a quorum is present. This meeting has been duly called, and notices of this meeting have been posted in accordance with the Open Meetings Act. Now, we're going to adjourn to closed session at,
502.
the board will now adjourn into executive session at 5:02 p.m. pursuant to the following section of the Texas Open Meetings Act, 551.074, 551.071, 551.129, 551.0821, and 551.076. We'll see you guys in a bit. Manor ISD. That's huge. Since 2019. Do you want to add anything else, Doctor?
I don't know that I can add anything other than for the TEA monitor, it's publicly has been monitoring the school district since 2019. And so if you can think about 5 years of hard work and to prove where we're at, we just did a conference, Ms. Cortez and I, and, you know, we are now being looked at as a model for how you do communication and work together as a team of 8 and work with an executive team. And so I want to thank all the district staff that have worked hard to get us to this point, and thank all the trustees, past and present. You were a joy to work with, and what I always said, I think I started off that meeting at the conference, how the head of the organization goes is how the rest, as we lead with integrity, so does everybody else in the organization. So I'm excited about the things we're going to accomplish together.
Yeah, and we had a standing room only, and it took us a long time to get out of there, which is great. So very happy. Thank you so much. We're going to celebrate. We're going to blast it all over social media. Everyone, this is a big win for Manor ISD. So now we will... Pledge of Allegiance. I would take volunteers for the vision and mission. Who would like to volunteer?
I'll do the vision.
Okay. Trustee Patterson, go ahead.
Manor ISD is the best district in Texas where we provide an equitable education for all scholars and graduate them ready to become leaders in our community.
Thank you. The mission? Trustee Rodriguez Barnett.
Collectively, as a community, Manor ISD provides equitable resources, a safe learning environment, and high-quality educational services for all scholars to successfully achieve and reach their full potential.
Thank you. Now we'll move on to recognition. Maritza.
So Team of 8, we have the first in 2025, but certainly not the last and certainly not the first to be out of many of our scholar recognitions tonight. And tonight we honor the leaders in our community, leaders in our future colleges and military that aligns with our strategic plan goal, that by 2028, 90% of Manor ISD scholars will graduate prepared for college, career, trade, and or military services based upon their individual goals. For our students being recognized tonight, when your name is called, if you'll please walk up to the left and shake the hands of our Board of Trustees. Once we're all done, you'll come to the middle, we'll take a group photo, and then you'll exit right out those doors to take your individual photos. Now let's get started. So we are proud to announce that 5 of our students from our middle schools and high schools have been selected to serve on the newly formed Manor Youth Advisory Committee. The committee is part of a leadership initiative adopted by the Manor City Council over the summer through the Texas Municipal League Youth Program. The program provides young leaders in grades 8 through 12 with the opportunity to serve on an advisory body to the Manor City Council on issues affecting the youth. So join me in congratulating the following students. From Manor New Tech Middle School, Jemima Tukap. From Manor High School, Cassius Williams. From Manor Early College High School, Farina Chandio. From Manor Early College High School, Kedis Johannes. From Manor Early College High School, Amira Hill. And finally, from Manor New Tech High School, Cammie Wilton. We can get you guys in the middle for a group photo, please. Alrighty. Ready, 1, 2, 3. One more. 1, 2, 3. Awesome. So next, we continue the celebrations with our Staff of the Month. These staff members have been selected by their campuses for going above and beyond for our students. So, of course, much like our scholar recognitions, for those of you here tonight, when I call your name, please come forward. Come to the left, please. You'll shake the hands of our Board of Trustees. Then we will take our group photo, and you'll head right out those doors for an individual photo. First up from our Child Development Center, Devontae Wilkerson, our 2-year-old, who takes care of our 2-year-olds. From Blake Manor Elementary, arts teacher Raina Dupree and instructional coach Vanessa Gongara. From Bluebonnet Trail Elementary, 5th grade sciences teacher Joseph Mitchell and Spanish language and culture liaison Manjla Guerrero. From Decker Elementary School, kindergarten teacher Catalina Smith and officer Lorenzo Simpson. From Lagos Elementary School, Tan Huynh and campus instructional coach Christy Hardy. From Oak Meadows Elementary, Vanessa Aguirre and Ana Guerrero. From Pioneer Crossing Elementary, Daniela Seslak and Marcela Medrano. From Presidential Meadows, Carolyn Lepai, 4th grade self-contained teacher, and Marla Mieja, pre-K paraprofessional. From Shadow Glen Elementary, kindergarten teacher Erica Rhodes and special education aide Victoria McDonald. From Manor Rise Academy, physical education teacher Andre Jackson and pre-K instructional assistant Alondra Espinosa. From Decker Middle School, 6th through 7th grade ESL teacher Tiffany Hernandez and SPED paraprofessional Angela Guerrero. From Manor Middle School, 6th grade ELA teacher Michael Nathan and nurse Michelle Cunlife. From Manor New Tech Middle School, Morgan Hurley, 8th grade social studies teacher, and Jorge Velasco, functional academics education. From Manor Early College High School, 9th through 12th grade pre-AP algebra teacher James Peterson and lead custodian Tommy Torres. From Manor Excel Academy, Dejin Kojin and Mignon Roos, teacher's aide. From Manor High School, 9th through 12th grade, both history football coach and soccer coach Brian Casilla and cafeteria worker Aranza Guerrero. From Manor New Tech High School, 9th through 12th grade RLA teacher Megan Hedgecock and substitute teacher Rodolfo Diaz. And from Manor High School, 9th through 12th grade social studies teacher Christopher Greibel and senior administrative assistant Veronica Ariano.
Make 2 rows, y'all.
So if you're a little taller, if you can head to the back row, if you're a little shorter, head to the front row.
If we could squeeze in a little more in. And we could get one more person at the front right here. So we can't see anybody past here, so I'm gonna need y'all 3. Awesome. Perfect. Y'all are awesome. Ready? 1, 2, 3. One more. 1, 2, 3. Awesome.
Wonderful, congratulations once again, thank you. Wonderful. So now we're moving along, and we don't have no public forum. So the next thing on the agenda is number 8, closed session action items. I will take a motion for 8.1.
Madam President, I move that the board make a finding that there is not good cause to support Mackenzie Spencer's resignation from her position at Manor ISD.
I have a motion by trustee Patterson. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Have a second by trustee Martinez. There's no discussion. I'll go ahead and take the vote to accept the motion as presented. All those in favor? 6-0. Okay, I will move to item 8.2.
Madam President?
Yes, trustee Cortez? Rodriguez Barnett?
Cloning yourself. I move that the board approve to appoint James Hufty as the new police lieutenant for Manor ISD Police Department as submitted.
Wonderful. I have a motion by trustee Rodriguez Barnett. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
I have a second from trustee Lowry. I guess, all those in favor? I have.
Sorry. Right down here.
Congratulations, 6-0. Welcome. Dr. Sarmani, would you like to?
I'd like to introduce our new lieutenant. I guess I can call you Lieutenant Hufty, or I don't know, maybe we'll call you LT from now on. We'll have to figure out. But just to all the community out there, he comes with a wealth of experience. Interesting in his resume, not only has he had a lot of law enforcement experience, but he has experience as an administrator overseeing safety and security within a district. So he's walked both the world of administration and the world of a police officer, and I'm really excited that he's going to bring both those experiences together in Manor ISD. So Lieutenant Hufty, if you want to say a few words to greet the community.
Absolutely. Madam President, members of the board, Dr. Samani, thank you so much for this opportunity. I am deeply honored to accept the position of the Manor ISD Police Department Lieutenant. As you indicated, I have a diverse background as an officer, as a teacher, as a special education teacher, as a campus level administrator and a district level administrator. And I think that brings a unique perspective to this role. And I look forward to working together to foster a safe and supportive school community. Thank you.
Thank you so much, and welcome to Manor ISD. So we will now move on to item number 9, Superintendent Update.
Hey, Dr. Benz will be the designated clicker for the night.
All right.
Okay, we've got a few points of pride that I'd like to just bring out, just some really amazing things that our students have been doing that I want to make sure I bring to the forefront. We had a couple of students that if you go down to the Bob Bullock Museum sometime, you're going to be able to go see their artwork on display there. I'm proud to say that Emily Nguyen from Manor New Tech High School and Ray Juarez from Early College High School, they are part of the Texas Art Education Association Ute Art Month Spring Exhibition. And they were kindly to share their production, so I've got a little picture for the community to see. So here's one from Mr. Ray Juarez. Give you a little look at what artwork is going to be on there.
Wow. Wow.
As you move forward, and there's Emily Nguyen's artwork. And so we're so proud that they're going to be representing our school district in an actual museum. How much fun. So going forward. Some other points of pride. We actually had 5 Manor High School students from Ms. Dalzo's ELA class. They're winners of a nationwide Fright Club creative writing contest. So out of 50,000 entries, we actually had 5 students that were selected for their prizes. And so clap out to Ms. Dalzo and her class.
Wonderful.
And I saw this picture, and it's so cute. I could not help but put this up there to show everybody. This young lady is looking at her Grand Champion award that she got. This is her name is Magdalena Morales Lopez. She's a fifth grader from Lagos Elementary School, and she participated in the Travis County Livestock Show, and her chicken was grand champion. And she also won overall
Chickens
second
are
place.
hard, y'all. Chickens are hard.
There you go. So, yeah.
Yes.
And I'm happy to report there were 12 other Manor FFA members that were able to sell their projects, 14 projects, and those students earned over $24,000 for a weekend work. I know it was more than a weekend, but on that weekend, they got $24,000, and so I'm very proud of our students, what they accomplished in FFA, so.
Wow.
Okay.
Great.
So just moving on, as always, want to give some safety updates to our community. One of the things I'm going to start doing on a monthly basis at the regular board meeting is I'm going to bring some progress monitoring to the community and to the board on all the enhancement and recommendations for student safety that we have. All of those are captured in our district improvement plan, which has now been updated in public for the board and for the public to see, so they can continue to progress monitor the details if they like online. Can you go back?
Yes, sir.
And so what I want to point out here on it, you'll see at this time 1 of 25 recommendations. I don't want that to sound like that we haven't been working on the other 24. We absolutely have. But I'm going to be real conservative about when I come up here and say it's done. And when it's done, it's done. And so I want to make sure that we're really on top of that. And that's why I'm not going to put any halves, 1.5s or anything up there. So right now, the only one that has been 100% complete, as you know, you voted on a stipend previously. And just to give you a quick update, we did see quite a few hall monitor applications and Chief Yarbo's been working through those. We have 2 officers that applied. Those are sworn peace officers. And so that's just the results of where we're at now. I'll have to check in with Chief. If have you gotten the interview them yet? This week, okay. So we'll find out if that's helped us get those quality officers in place. We'll know more after he's gotten a chance to sit down with them. I also want to point out that some of these recommendations, of course, are going to take longer than a year. For example, one of the main recommendations is do some structural changes to New Tech High School. And of course, that's going to take a whole lot more conversation with the community about what that's going to look like. And it could potentially ultimately require another bond proposal. And that's a much longer term thing that we're talking about. If you go forward, Dr. Vance. Some other things going on. We are looking at weapon detection systems, different types of systems, and we are looking for the most effective one that we can find. We want a weapons detection that's not only effective, but also that allows a welcoming feeling for our students and our community as well. And so we are looking through that. I bring that up because tonight our trustees were asking you to authorize me to expend funds and negotiate contracts with vendors so that we can have maximum expediency and speed in getting those done. So that is on the consent agenda, as you know, tonight. I just wanted to point that out to the public, that your trustees are moving quickly with that. The Center for Safe Schools, they have been contracted to do a third-party audit of our safety posture. They are working under the auspices of Mr. O'Hanlon. They are approved by the Texas School Safety Center to do this type of work within the state of Texas. If you look at them closely, they are actually in Pennsylvania, but they have people here in Texas that have been qualified by Texas to do this work. I don't want to give away details, but they are already scheduled to be physically on site to work. My security folk know who they are and when they're going to be there. I fully expect that 25 recommendations I had will probably be more after they're done with that work. I will certainly share what they come up with trustees, but just to be clear to the public, if they're going to come up and say, here's some safety risks you have, that is not something we would want to talk about publicly. They will come up as recommendations, but I won't put specific details because that's something that we don't want any bad actor to know if we do have any safety risks that they identified. So we'll share as much as we can publicly, but there will always be some things that only the trustees I'll share with you, and the police, of course. You move forward. A couple other things. We are moving forward with some short-term safety enhancement in New Tech High School community. We have been working with the New Tech staff on some upgrades to really just the management of the high school. We're planning on implementing those on February 3rd. So they'll be communicating out with the community. So there are going to be some changes to entry to the building. So if you've been trying to go your usual way starting February 3rd, you may be redirected in a different place. The idea is to ensure that as people are entering the school, there are eyes on them to ensure that only the right people get into the building. And of course, that's really leading us to the next step with once we have a weapons detection system installed over there, we're funneling persons through those areas as well. Along with that, trustees tonight will authorize the funds for our contractor to begin work. We are still doing some reference checks, but we do have 3 bids in, and we will be negotiating with them and doing a final contract to begin putting in the fencing over there around the new tech to augment those changes that we're doing. You can go back? Yes, sir. You're too fast for me, Dr. Benz. Oh. Finally, just want to reiterate that in my world, every single student who walks up to my door gets an education, no matter who you are. And I want to emphasize that because, and I'll just say it, just this weekend, the priest down at St. Joseph was calling me saying that we have some worried members of our community because they heard some rumor. And so I'm just going to come out and say it. You show up to my doors, I don't care who you are, your child, we're going to educate you. It doesn't matter to me. We don't keep track of immigration status. We don't keep track of any of that stuff. It doesn't matter to me. You're a kid, we educate. It doesn't matter to me if your parents and who your parents are. You're a kid, we educate you. That's what we do. And we're here to keep your child safe, and the safest place your child can be is in our school system. If law enforcement, any law enforcement ever showed up at our school, whether it's ICE, Travis County, FBI, it doesn't really matter. There is a protocol they have to go through to have access to our students. And we are blessed in this district to have our own police department who knows what the rules are and knows when they can have access and can advise them when it's probably not in their best interest to do something on our campus. And so I just want to let everybody in this audience know, and everyone out there in TV land, rest assured, we are prepared, we're ready, and I'm perfectly comfortable with our posture. So let's just keep telling our kids and our families that they're welcome and they're safe, and we're open for business.
Thank you.
And with that, we'll go on to some exciting academic stuff.
Perfect. So now we're going to move on to 10, Texas, the Taper Report. Dr. Tammy Williams-Hill.
All right. Good evening, team of 8.
Good evening.
All right. So I have the pleasure of presenting to you this evening the 2023-2024 Manor ISD Taper Report. There are 8 sections to the Taper Report, and so I'll go over each of those briefly. You do have a copy, I believe, in front of you.
Wait.
If there is anyone in the audience who would like a copy of the Taper Report, which stands for Texas Academic Performance Report, we'll be happy to give you a copy as well.
Thank you.
We also have a digital copy on our website.
And trustees, you also got a digital copy, and for the public, you can get one. It's posted on Board Book as well.
All right, so Section 1 of the Taper Report, not this past year and the year before, but the state of Texas generally gives school districts a letter grade. For the past couple of years, the state of Texas have not issued a letter grade to school districts due to some legal issues that TEA is facing with releasing those district scores or those district letter grades. And so the first time it happened was in 2023. There was a lawsuit filed against the Texas Education Agency regarding how it changed the calculation for the CCMR scores, which basically districts started the year thinking that they were going to calculate scores a certain way, and TA decided to change that formula after it was already too late. The most recent lawsuit in 2024 is regarding accountability and how certain parts of the test were scored for students, meaning that TEA or vendors have to go through a certain process to test the reliability and validity of the exam. TEA contracted with a third-party vendor, and so the lawsuit asserts that when AI grading was introduced, that third party may not have reached those or went through those validity and reliability standards. So as a result, for 2 years now, the letter grades for school districts have been put on pause until there is a judicial ruling about what the state can do. So this next slide is STAR participation for the district. You will see that our participation rates remain the same from one year to the next at 98%. The state average is 99%, and our region average is 98%. You will also see on the next slide, we're going to switch to performance, and it's all grade levels, all subjects, and you have the 3 levels that the state of Texas actually have 4 levels, but they only release data for 3. That 4th level is do not meet standard. But the data that we're provided falls into these 3 categories. And you will see highlighted in yellow the 23-23 performance for Manor ISD. You will see to the left of that the scores for Region 13 and the state, and you will see Manor ISD scores fluctuate about the same number of percentage points from 2 to sometimes in some categories 4% is a little bit lower than Region 13 difference. For all grades, all students who took the reading language arts test, you will see the performance from year 2023 to 2024. For all grades that tested in math, you will see the same data highlighted in yellow. For science, you have the similar data. For social studies, and for each of these categories, you will see approaches grade level and above. The percentages that you see in those columns, that means any student who scored approaches and above, they are calculated in that number. You will see meets or above. That percentage includes students who are meets or who are masters. And you will see in the masters category the first 2 levels. The master's is an indicator as defined by TEA that a student is highly likely to perform well and on the next grade level or the next time they take that course subject. The meets or above means that the student is likely to perform well at the next grade level or the next test subject with limited academic intervention. And if a student scores approaches grade level or above, that means that they might need targeted intervention. They do have a likely chance that they will succeed in the next grade level, but they will probably need targeted intervention. Any questions so far?
Thank you.
Right. So the graduation rates, you will see 3 different classes. You will see the class of 2023, and that was for the 9th grade class that started in 2019. So you will see their 4-year longitudinal rate. The next section you see is the class of 2022, which starts a year later. So they've had 5 years of graduation results because once students leave, they still have the opportunity 2 years after to take the EOC to graduate. And so that's why you see 4, 5, and 6-year graduation rates for the different classes because students still have the opportunity. Okay, so you will see that for the class of 2021, their final graduation rate is 94.3, and you can expect to see next year, hopefully an increase in class of 2022 and 2023. Those numbers will shift down. For CCMR, we've been providing updates since the start of the school year. And so the data that you see here is more specific. We've been providing you updates on what changes the district has been making since 2023, that measurement changed, and how the district is responding to it. But if you remember that chart that Dr. Harvey showed us, the different ways that you can qualify for CCMR credit, here's the breakdown of it. So if you look at the TSI initiative, those are 2 subjects, reading language arts and math. And thus, that is an exam that students take to measure their readiness for college. And so you see for 23-24, we had 199 students be successful on the reading language arts and 194 students on the math. The other criteria that students can meet is listed in the right. The AP and IB exam, dual course credit associate's degree, on-ramps, dual enrollment, and special education services with advanced diploma plan. And so those are the three ways, the three categories that students can get college credit. For career credit, you'll see in blue the number of students in 23-24 who earned an IBC, which is an industry-based certification. We had 209 students for 31%. We had 9 students who earned a level 1 or 2 certificate in that industry. And then we had 14 students graduate with IEP, instructional education plan, and workforce readiness, 14 students at 2%. Then the third criteria of military, we have 0. And so when the state of Texas implemented CCMR, they did not provide guidance or have an agreement with the Department of Justice of how we would get that information. As you know, military demographic information is highly protected. And so we are measured on data that we cannot readily receive. And so luckily, since I've been here, I think Ms. Hill, Emily Hill, has reached out to us to say, how many graduates do we have? We want to recognize them. So unless students or parents tell us, we really don't know. But luckily, this spring, it is reported that the Texas Education Agency has been in conversation with the Department of Justice and is on the verge of having an agreement so that we can get that data quickly.
Yes. The number of students in the top categories, the RLA and the math and the general criteria, are those, or could those be the same students, or are those separate students? Are they different students?
So they have to pass both the reading language arts and math, and correct me if I'm wrong, it is the same students, but it can also be different students because they can pass one portion and not the other.
So put it another way, that 63% CCMR number,
Yes.
that's individual students, but in the red up there, those, they could show up multiple
Okay.
times.
So 431 seniors are receiving the credit?
Yeah.
Yes, we
Correct.
received
Out of
credit.
683?
Yes.
And so I guess my question would be, for the 252 who have not qualified, what are the targeted initiatives we're doing to help those kids?
We'll just remember that those 250, this class of 2023.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
so the question is, which is why, it's so important for us to have a live data system. So when
Right.
we do the monitoring reports, this, I hate to use words, this is the autopsy.
So do we have a live system for this year's kids that are similar to this?
Yes,
Yes.
we do. That's part, we can resend that information from the last board update about CCMR. We can resend that to you all. Some of the things that I think that was shared that we were doing is that there are more students who have been enrolled in college prep English and math classes. That's one of the ways to earn more points for CCMR. There is also more alignment of the courses that are being offered for students who are seeking industry-based certification, because at one point in time, students could take those as electives, but not as a full pathway. And so now those pathways are being refined to make sure that students can earn those industry-based certifications in the proper order.
So would there be a way for us in this type of forum to receive the live data in this format?
Sure. That should be no problem. The status system we have is sensitive enough to bring it up. In fact, if this is a format the trustees like, then we will just make it so that when we do our board monitoring report, I think we've got one coming up next month on CCMR, we'll just do it in this format.
I think that, I'm seeing, everybody nodding, yes, so I think that's something that we would like.
And what we can do, and that's great, because we want alignment from the board on down
Yeah.
to the teacher. We can do class of 2025, class of 2026, and class of 2027.
That would be great.
Okay, it shall be so.
Thank Thank you.
All right, so the second part of 8 is the PEMS financial standard reports, and even though it is the 23-24 taper, the finance information is from school year 22-23. Okay. So this report is also available on our website as well as the TEA website, and so what you're looking at is based upon general revenue funds. So during the 2022-2023 school year, the district revenues, what we received was $10,925 per student, the equivalent of that. Our district expenditures that year was $10,993. Well, as this English teacher who does math, that's a little lopsided. So that meant that we spent $68 more than we received in revenue per student. And so our general fund balance, also you will see depicted on here, was decreased by $1.2 million, and we also had a recapture payment of $10.3 million. What you see in the yellow chart, you see the second column that says general fund and the percentage, and you'll see the district comparison. You will also see all funds. So that's recapture funds. So if we had the recapture funds to spend, you would see that our cost per student would be about $17,131. But because we had to give back the recapture, it was $10,925.
So I have a question. So this is the 2022-2023 financial data. So that means this is the school year that we gave. Was it the first time we've ever been in recapture? Was this the term, the first calendar year?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
So the next slide, we have for the 2022-23 school year, our personnel cost increased by 4.4% of the budget above the state. Our contracted services are about 1% under the state average. Our supplies and materials are about 3%, our expenditures on that. Our operating costs are about 0.6% under the state. And then overall, the district spent about $755 more per student across all funds as compared to the state. And the reason for the 4.4% increase, along with the recapture payment, we also had to roll over any type of salaries that were paid over out of ESSER dollars into the local fund. So that increased our expenditures. We also had, for our expenditures of $755, that is due to natural inflation of insurance costs, fuel costs, operating expenses that we all experience increases in our everyday lives, so we're not exempt from that.
I have a can you go back?
Yes.
Great. So, on the personnel cost, the 4.4% above the state, is it because of what is that due to, the higher needs that we have in our district, or?
So we had about $8 million in salaries that we were paying for out of ESSER.
Okay.
And when we switched that over to local funding, that's what caused part of the increase of 4.4% more. So we assumed that bill in our local funds.
Okay.
Question. And so, based on the presentation we got last month, we've put all of these different funding situations into the proposed budget so that we balance it this year, so that we're already we already know about our fund balance, or we already know about recapture. We already know enough information so that we can
We do.
present a
Yes.
balanced budget.
Yes.
We plan on the March workshop for everybody who wants to come talk budget. We are planning a budget workshop with the board's blessing, if you would like. First Monday in March, I'd like to bring some preliminary numbers that you have a rough idea of where we think we're going to have to reduce expenditures on different functions, and we'll dive into a little bit more specifics. I think it's a $14.2 million worth of expenditures. We're going to need to start early. And so I want to start early with feeding you that information. So if there's any guidance you want to give me along the way, you can be providing it. Simultaneously with that, of course, we'll be hearing from our state legislatures and what's happening so we can update everybody along the way as well. But that is the plan. Obviously, a lot of our stuff are estimates, but, Mr. Sandy will tell you, we can get some pretty good estimates and some assumptions. And I guess I'll say is we have a very conservative CFO, which is a good thing. And so the numbers we bring to you are always going to be assuming a little bit of a worst-case scenario just in case, and we'll be pleasantly surprised if it turns out better. So.
And I have another question when we do the workshop in March. I like these projections and, to forecast what it would look like, but I also would like to see, and I'm sure you're probably going to include it, but the forecast for recapture part of how it would look. I know there's a lot of moving pieces, but I would like to see how that looks.
As far as recapture, we're at overnight recapture. As long as we maintain our ADA high, there won't be any recapture. So we drop our ADA, recapture starts to kick in based on this state's template right now. But since TDA still doesn't have our current ADA, their most recent template out there is calculating closer to getting the recapture. But once we plug in our current ADA, there's no recapture. So we are on the quarter.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Did you have a question?
Thank you.
All right, you're welcome. All right, each school district also receives a rating from the Financial Integrity Rating System of Texas. Manor ISD for the 2022-2023 school year received superior achievement with a score of 90. And basically, it's the state of Texas or TEA's way of checks and balances to make sure that we're in compliance and that we have money where we need to have it and that we have reserves where we need to have them.
And I do have another question for that. So I want to make sure that we forecast in the ratings, because, hopefully, how we had to borrow money. I'm just in the back of my head is how is that going to impact us in the future? And I just want to make sure, and I think we're doing it sounds like, you guys are doing a really good job in projecting and trying to balance a budget. But if we do have to, again, borrow money, until we're balancing everything out, I want to know and see how that would look like in our financial ratings.
Yeah.
And if it will impact it,
It will, and I just want to be transparent out there because even with the score we have now, I think we're going to be able to the maximum score we'll be able to get next year is 89. So there's no way around that, and I think we pretty much agree that we're probably going to have to borrow money at some point next year as well, because even if we're not in recapture, we're right on that borderland where we're not going to get enough state funds that's going to offset to get us cash flow until January. We're not going to have enough to carry us through all the way to January. We can already tell you that. Now, the numbers, we'll get more exact about that as we move forward. There are some assets we may consider selling at some point that will allow us to cushion that, but even with that, I actually met with our financial advisor this morning, and, we believe that there's at least one more year we'll have to do that, even with a balanced budget, even with a surplus budget. It is the nature of districts like ours, especially those districts who are borderline recapture. Now, if we suddenly grow by a large number of students, that may begin to change the equation. But if we're maintaining a conservative estimate of student growth, then just want to say we'll probably borrow money in October again.
And that's why I asked these questions, because I really want to make sure that we're transparent. And now forecasting that and forward thinking, I also want to know the impact if, hopefully, you're already projecting that we're going to go down to an 89. What does that look like for us? What is the impact? So that way we're just thinking ahead, you know.
Yeah, there was since 2022, 2023, a confluence of events, right? We had to absorb the ESSER. And Moises shared with me that the district in 2022, 2023, you had the tax rate election with the 1 penny. That was one-time usage. It didn't carry over. So that also was just for that year. And we had to absorb those costs as well. So you had recapture, you had $10 million in recapture, $8 million in absorbing ESSER funds, and then we had the 1 penny that we could use, but it was one time.
It was more than 1 penny.
was
It was
only 1
9
penny?
cents.
9 cents.
To be clear.
9 cents, yeah.
And
9 cents.
The following year, we didn't have that revenue. It was only allowed for one emergency pays due to the result of futures.
Yeah, and we can give probably save it for a workshop to get a further, but other questions?
So the goal is ultimately to have that fund build to where we have that cushion when, that period where we're short, we're able to fund ourselves.
Hey, Moises, just because our public can't hear you when you're talking, if you're going to have some conversation, why don't you come on up to the microphone? It's okay, just come to the microphone, because they can't hear you in TV land.
Oh, whatever you were going to say. You could say.
The board president has pointed you out, sir. You must go to the mic.
And nobody's going to be calling from behind today.
Okay. Yeah. So what I was going to say is that there are some indicators in the first rating, mainly your first 5, that have to do with the solvency of our financial statements. Those are the main ones that we had to pass. If we fail one of those, we fail the first rating for that year only. So Dr. Sormani was, what he meant, what he said was correct when we drop our points. But do keep in mind that first rating is based on a snapshot as of the end of our fiscal year. So whatever our finances were on June the 30th, if our fund balance was more than 90 days, that automatically approves us for a passing, because according to TEA, we only need 90 days cash on hand. But on our books, we need at least 5 months to operate. So this is a cash flow issue. So even though our books are in the negative and we need to borrow, if our snapshot date for July the 30th is that we have more than 90 days in cash on hand, and we don't have any findings, we pass our audit with an unqualified opinion, we automatically pass the first rating. Okay?
Thank you. Any other questions? And I know we're going to have a workshop, but it's just, the financial of the district, so.
All right, so Section 3 of 8, the accreditation status for the district. Basically, the TEA is telling us or acknowledging us as a public school that can operate in the state of Texas. We do have the accredited status. The 2024 status will be available, still was not available at the time of creating this presentation. Section 4, campus performance objectives. Each of our campuses have their campus improvement plans, and those are documents, living, working documents that campuses use to guide what they will focus on for that school year, and they should be reflective of the district improvement plan.
Is there any knowledge on the progress of the lawsuit? And when might districts start getting a grade?
Yeah, it's not on our agenda, but I can certainly get an update and pass it on to you all.
Thank you, yeah. And I was looking at our attorney, but yeah, it's not on the agenda, so. Okay.
Oh, I only asked because of the previous slide. It had our rating on there. It's 3 years back, so I'm just wondering.
No, thank you, Trustee Patterson, for that question.
All right.
All right.
So you will see the CIPs 1 month, you'll see it, and then you'll have campuses update their progress. They may add a different goal based upon new things that arise as a campus. So just know it is a document that's still pretty solid, but it may change based upon the campus needs. right, Section 5, report on violent or criminal incidents. What you have before you are incidents that occur on campuses that are required to be reported by federal law. The chart that you're looking at is for the 23-24 school year, and we have it broken down by campuses and the number of incidents that occurred. Just as Moises said, the first rating is a snapshot in one day. This data is also a snapshot in one day. And what we discovered, for example, one of our campuses, we have use of a legal knife. What we discovered is that that is not accurate information, which means that our administrators need a little bit of training in how they code disciplinary incidents, because there is a definition of legal knife. It has to be a certain length. And in those two incidences, they did not reach or meet that definition. And so, as part of digging through this and looking at it, we've identified that we do need to provide some more training of our administrators and making sure that they are coding incidents appropriately and as defined in our disciplinary procedures. Any questions about that?
This is basically just the data that we have to send on to the state. I guess you're talking about the 5-inch rule with the knife. So I don't see a coding for use of a legal knife, but I guess we document that differently according to.
Yes,
Yeah.
this chart reflects what is required of us by the federal government, because if you have X number of incidents, then the school district or the school will be designated as a persistently dangerous school. And so, yes, we do have other codes, state codes for PEEMS and local codes for those incidences. Here is a list of our violence prevention and intervention programs and resources that we have in the district. And so just to name a few, you see we have a lot of partners, and many of our partners provide one-on-one and group services to students after school and during school. So you'll see a lot of mental wellness and mental health resources, as well as mentoring resources for our students in the campuses at which they are present. Any questions about those programs? All right, so Section 6, Student Performance in Post-Secondary Institutions. This data is collected by the Texas Higher Education Coordinating Board. The most recent report we have from them is from the 2021-2022 school year. And so the data or the information that you see on this slide is from the 2021-22 school year. And what it does is it takes high school graduates who attended Texas 4-year or 2-year institutions. We only track data for students who attended Texas school, so not for those who attended out of state. And so the 2022-2023 school year data is anticipated to be released this month. And so when that information is released, we'll share it with you as well. On the report, in your taper report, you will see that students are not trackable or coded as, or percentage as not trackable or not found. And that could be because they attended an institution outside of the state of Texas or a private school. All right. On the next slide, we have student performance by GPA at post-secondary institutions. And I'll pause for a minute. You can see our 3 campuses, Manor High School, which includes our 3 buildings together, Manor New Tech High School, and Manor Excel Academy. So for example, we have for Manor High School, 84 students were tracked in 21-22. Those that had less than a GPA of 2.0, 26. A GPA between 2.0 and 2.49, 17 students. A GPA between 2.5 and 2.99, 11 of those students. A GPA between 3.0 and 3.49, 18 students. And 12 students with a GPA greater than 3.5. And you'll see the same for a two-year public college. All right, Section 7, our progress toward meeting HB3 goals. All right, with each board meeting, there is a chunk of the HB3 goals that we provide you updates on. And so we have those listed in our district improvement plan, which is posted on our website for everyone to view. We will still continue to provide you monthly updates at our board meeting on our progress for our HB3 goals. And you can find it under the district and state reports, the required posting section of our website. And then the last section, Section 8, because the TAPER report has lots of acronyms. If you would like to know what that acronym means or how the state calculates graduation or dropout rates, they have formulas and all of the definitions in there for the public to see so that everyone has the same understanding as to what this terminology means or what this particular formula, how you calculate graduation rates. Okay. And it is also listed on our website. All right. And the Spanish version should be posted soon. And when we get that from TEA, we'll also post it on our website. All right, we also have the TAPER annual report. You can look in the academics section. We will have copies here in central office and at campuses if anyone requests it. And if you have any questions about the TAPER, contact Dr. Bentz.
Happy to.
No, any questions about the TAPER report?
Is there anybody from the audience that has any questions? Anybody from the public regarding the TAPER report? I don't see any.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Right, so we will now move on to information items. 11.1 HPM update. If there's any question from any of the board members? If not, we'll move over to 11.2, the December monthly financial report. And if you guys have any questions, we have our CFO here. If not, we'll move on over. All right, so 11.3, constraint progress measure 3, the board monitoring report by Dr. Matthew Benz.
See if I'm going to get there here. I might need some help.
Hey, Laura, we need help.
I need a presentation, please. Hi there.
No, it's, you, no, that's because you're going to have to go get them logged in to go into the Google Drive and get it if it's not up there, because it exists. So,
Or should we just plug in another computer, or is that going to whack it up?
I think Laura's doing something.
if while they're fixing it, I'm sorry, Madam President, if you don't mind, we can go skip to number 4 while they're updating the presentation, because I think that that's just a verbal that he can do.
Yeah, we can, if it's okay with the board, we can move on to the number 4. So yes, I have a consensus that we can go ahead and do that. So we can, in the meantime, go ahead. Chief Yarbrough?
Madam President, Cortez, Board Trustees, and Dr. Smiley. Basically, where we are, on the 3rd of December 2024, we had a true audit assessment. Okay, we had a intruder audit assessment that was done by TEA at Manor High School. There was a door that was located that was open, so that resulted in a finding or a failure of with TEA. So what we've done is what is required of us by TEA and Texas Education Code 37108, where we are required to retrain staff. Then once we retrain staff, we're required to present it to the board, giving the information of what was done to correct that action. And at this particular point, we have accomplished that. The last thing that we have to do is bring it to our district safety and security meeting to let them know what's going on with that. So, you have any questions?
Does anybody have any questions? Thank you for the update. Dr. Sarmani?
If I could just say, it's unacceptable. We took corrective action in the measure that we needed to take. I asked Principal Powell to be here because she could verify that that action had taken place. And we did talk to the entire staff, not just the individual, because safety has got to be a collective action. It can't be just one person. So if one person is not doing what they need to do, somebody's got to say something. And so in the strongest terms possible, I want to say we are going to continue to monitor and correct. And I did talk to all the principals at once about it. So.
Thank you, Dr. Sarmani. Thank you, Principal Powell. Are we ready to move on to, oh, awesome. Dr. Beck?
All right, trustees, not Madam President.
Team of 8.
Team of 8, that's it, team of 8. I was racking my brain, team of 8. It's great to be here tonight. Thank you, Dr. Williams-Hill, for trying to ice the kicker, but I'm back from the timeout, and I'm still going to kick the field goal here.
There you go.
I'm here to talk to you tonight about constraint progress measure number 3 and give you an update on the work we've been doing and the work that's been happening on our campuses relative to the constraint. So constraint number 3, as I know you know, constrains us from allowing any school to be rated as an F based on TEAA through F ratings for more than 1 year without making progress on their numeric overall score. It's important to hear that numeric overall score piece. So as Dr. Williams-Hill already talked to you about in the TAPER report, one of the things that presents some challenges in sharing progress with you on this particular constraint is that we do not have accountability ratings, and we haven't had them for the last 2 years. But the good news is that we have something, we have the next best thing. So we don't have official spring STAR stuff, but we do have STAR interim assessments. Now, STAR interim assessments are from TEA. They align to the TEKS, the Texas standards. We do use them to monitor progress in both the fall and the spring. And for this constraint number 3, the piece that's important to zero in on is that they are built and designed to be used as predictors of student performance for the spring STAR. And so from that, we can also get an overall numeric score from the STAR interim assessments. So we have been giving STAR interim assessments. We gave some last year, and we just gave a STAR interim assessment, the fall STAR interim assessment, 2 months ago in November, shortly before Christmas. And so we are, whoops, I don't want to give you that one yet. So what we're going to do here is we're going to look at 14 months ago, November 2023, when we gave the fall STAR interim. We're going to look at that fall 2023 data and the overall numeric scores from fall 2023, and we're going to compare it to fall 2024 that we took just before Christmas. And we're going to look at both numeric scores, and we're going to make a comparison, and we're going to see if we made progress and use that data to shed some light on where we're headed relative to this constraint. So I just want to say that our campus folks, our campus leaders, our teachers, our staff, our district folks, our curriculum people, our curriculum coordinators have been working their tails off, and we are seeing some progress. So since we don't have accountability ratings to tell us, hey, this is the campus that the constraint speaks to, or that campus, we're going to look at all the campuses and give you a progress update for each of our campuses. So let's look at the elementary campuses first. And so what you see here in this table course, on the far left column, you see each of the elementary campuses. The column just to the right of that is, like I was talking to you about, last school year, fall of 2023, so 14 months ago, there are the STAR interim scores for that fall 2023. Then to the right of that, you see the fall 2024 STAR interim overall numeric scores that from the assessments that our campuses just gave to their students just this past November, a couple of months ago. Then the column on the right, which is the good news column, the fun column, is the percentage points of change, right? And so the green is good, green means go, we are heading in the right direction. So when you compare the overall numeric score from 2023, fall 2023, to the overall numeric score from fall 2024, using this STAR practice test or this STAR predictor test, see that each of our elementary campuses is making significant progress, from 8 percentage points of progress all the way up on the other end of the spectrum to 28 percentage points of progress. So I just want to take a moment to let everyone look at that data and just think about and commend our people on those elementary campuses for the hard work that they're doing, and for our district folks that have been supporting them, being there on some of our campuses multiple times a week to train teachers, to help them plan their units and their lessons, to coach them while they're teaching. It's been a coordinated effort, and we have good reason to believe and hope and dream that in the spring we're going to see good things happening. So,
Are these
yes, ma'am.
numbers the percent score? Is it the percent of kids that passed? What is that number?
Excellent question. So it is not the percent of passed, and it takes into account those domains from STAR. So progress, the percent passing in reading and math and growth, and combines it using the formula to come up with the overall numeric score, which they're supposed to do and they should be doing at the state level, and they will be doing again someday, we would anticipate, with state accountability in the spring. And when that happens, we'll be using those overall numeric scores. So it is not a straight, hey, this is the percentage passing of reading and math combined.
No, it's the numeric score that you spoke to. Was there a STAR exam spring of 20?
Yes.
And off the top of your head, do you remember how those numeric scores correlated to the fall 23 scores?
Yes. So
was there a tight correlation there?
here's the thing. So when it comes to overall numeric scores relative to the spring STAR from this past spring in 2024 or the spring of 2023, we can take a stab at calculating those numbers internally, and we even have assistance from some people at Region 13 with guidance on how to do that. But we want to be very careful about having, hey, our internal scores are the scores, because formulas that we use and calculations that we might make and take a stab at don't always line up with what the state comes out with. So we are extremely careful with what we share and what we try to calculate as our internal calculation and put it out to the public that, hey, these are our overall numeric scores for STAR, because it's high stakes, as you know.
Yeah.
I have,
The interims don't include a written portion, and STAR does, so it's not
Yeah.
truly comparative.
That is true.
My next
Well,
question.
with a caveat.
Was that my concern wasn't so much for the public. My concern was I want the teachers and the students to know that these scores mean something towards progress toward the real thing.
Yes, sir.
That's
Yes, sir.
because I would hate for us. Let's say this was it Manor Rise, 28 points, and then come the real thing. something happens and then we're going, so I just want to make sure that,
And these are very valid questions,
yeah,
you
I
know.
want to
and
make
it-
sure that
Absolutely.
we are, because I do want to commend our teachers.
of course.
Because
For sure.
they're, and our
sure.
students. But I want to make sure we are truly on the right path towards success. And if we could confidently say, this is the way to do it, then I'm all for it. I just,
Well, and I think the easiest, the simplest way I tell people how to use this type of data, this is not data used to predict what we're going to end up with at a STAR test. So I think of it this way. So if Blake Manor scored a 56 in 2023, and at the end of the year, they scored whatever the number that was, well, this year, we've done something different that's caused them to score 18 points higher on that, so we're seeing growth. Now, I'm not going to try to hazard to try to pretend like I can guess the magic of AI grading that's going to predict what their end score is. All I know is we're doing something that's doing 18 points better in the reading, and so it's moving in the right direction. And I think that's the right way to use it. It's not to, I don't want anyone to start, blowing their horn saying we got a 74, so we're doing well.
Yep.
And anyways, you shouldn't be blowing your horn if you're getting a 74 anyways. But I think it's the progress is what we're after and what we're seeing, which means to continue and stay the course. And that's how I see this kind of data. Yeah, I don't want anyone out there in public land to see that number and say, oh, yeah, that's our score. No, that's not quite how it works. But we are moving in the right direction, which is the important part.
Yeah, that's an excellent point, and that you made as well, Mr. Patterson. So we have to compare apples to apples, right? And that's why we don't have official spring data, but we do have last year's fall, which was the same as this year's fall. And so we can look, as Dr. Sermani said, and try to get an idea, are we doing better on this exact same test that we took at the exact same time? Comparing those two scores. Now, on the STAR interim assessment, there's no written portion. We have done some work we have extended written responses, extended constructive responses that we use, that we give in our module assessments. And as a couple of people on the board already know, that we mess around with trying to see how that fits in with these scores as well. But then that really brings a level of subjectivity to it, and that I can't guarantee the validity of, to sit up in front of you here and say, hey, we're doing so much better on the writing portion as well. So what I'm bringing you, what I do have that comes out of a TEA validated assessment. So we still got to keep our foot on the gas to be sure. We want the scores and we need the scores to be higher. They are trending in the right direction according to the TEA interim, which is what I have to compare. Okay. I'm getting the move on, but is that what you're saying too, sir? Okay, perfect.
And just to clarify real quickly, just because it doesn't say that on the table, was that for all subjects and
So
all
it's-
grades, or was that for a specific subject?
Math and reading.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Good question. So we've already talked about that. Let's look at secondary. So again, the STAR interim, comparing apples to apples, STAR interim in November 2023, STAR interim in November 2024, without any extended constructed response, internal testing and data calculated in. And again, I'm just looking at how the schools did on this particular assessment in fall of 2023, comparing it to fall of 2024. We do see a difference, and we see a trend in the right direction with all three of our middle schools and one of our high schools, and then we see Manor High School 001 remaining constant.
Is this also just math and reading for secondary? Okay.
So just for future presentations, can you just let, on the presentation, show what the numbers are, like math and reading?
Sure, and I can try to break some of that out and give you some more information as well.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
One other thing I'm curious about, and obviously this isn't going to be handled in this board meeting, but I would love to see what the breakdown looks like at the secondary level for students who are retesting in subjects,
to see what that growth and development looks like.
So the end of course data. I can share that with you. That would be my pleasure.
Thank you.
You'll be sure. Again, for what it's worth, we'll continue with the work, but I am proud of what our middle school and high schools are working towards and the progress that is being made. Mathematically, we do have a reasonable expectation that our scores are trending in the right direction.
Wonderful, thank you.
So, what's next? What's next is, when I was up here, my first presentation, what's next is we stay the course. Stay the course with the two-pronged approach we talked about for improving performance at the very beginning of the year with system-wide alignment and tailored campus support. Not going to talk to you too much about either one, but we are still out on our targeted campus in particular, couple times a week, out working with teachers, planning units, doing trainings, and we are guaranteeing system-wide a level of training in PD. Our campus leaders are receiving PD and training right alongside their teachers, and so that we have that alignment across the system at the same time. We want to build a system where no matter what school, no matter what classroom you walk into, that you're guaranteed a great learning experience. And that's what we're striving for with aligning what we do, what we want to see happening in our classrooms, and having precise messaging, precise alignment in training, everywhere stepping through from the district personnel on down to the teachers and staff.
Thank you.
And that is it.
And thank you to your team for everything that they've done to support the campuses and for the campuses for working so hard. And obviously, we're seeing growth. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. They are doing great work. And thank you all for your support as well.
Wonderful. Looks great. We'll move on to consent agenda items. So I will entertain a motion for the consent agenda items. I have a motion by Trustee Patterson to approve all of the consent agenda as presented.
I second.
I have
all
a
second.
second from both Trustee Rodriguez Barnett and Trustee Lowry. All those in favor? Motion passes 6-0. Now we're going to move over to action item 3.1. I will entertain a motion.
I move that the board approves the resolution to compensate employees for school closure due to winter weather as presented.
I have a motion from Trustee Lowry to accept the resolution as presented.
I second that.
I have a second from Trustee Howard. All those in favor? Motion passes 6-0. And we have our next confirmation of our next regular board meeting is on February 18th. We do have a workshop scheduled February 3rd. And other than that, I think I can entertain a motion to adjourn.
Move, adjourn.
I have a motion by Trustee Patterson to adjourn. I have a second by Trustee Lowry at 7:31 p.m. All those in favor? Yay! 6-0. 7:31. Great job. And I know we did more than 50% of our meetings student outcomes. Yay. Congratulations.